welcome to a brand new week of Student of the Gun Radio. I am your host. Yes, I still am your host, Paul Markle. And my co-host is still Jared Markle, even though he split his skull here last week. But they stitched his skull back together, and he's over there. How's your skull feeling there, Knucklehead?
I got a little bit of a headache.
A little bit of a headache.
It's feeling a lot better.
There's a reason for that.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's because my brain's so big, it's trying to burst out of my skull.
That's exactly it. So you want to tell people why you have 8 stitches on your noggin? Or
I was door gunning on a space shuttle, and I got hit by an asteroid.
Really? Is that true?
Yes. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Okay.
No, I was actually training. For those of you that don't know, I've done martial arts pretty much my entire life, and I'm just trying to get back into the mixed martial arts, cage fighting now. So I'm training, getting ready for a fight, and me and my buddy were in there. We were just doing some light sparring. It wasn't anything hard, but his head and my head it was like magnets. I don't even know how it happened. It just our heads hit, and then my eye was split open. And you know the crazy thing?
What's the crazy thing?
Out of all the fights that I've had, this is the worst cut I've had.
You get injured more in training than you do in actual fighting.
But we weren't hard training. If we were hard training, then I would be like, okay, I understand.
And it wasn't from a punch, it was from another head.
Yeah, it was from a head.
Stop doing that. All right, well, so now that we talked about Jared's noggin and his stitches, let's talk about pop music. No, not pop music. It's a Monday, and so it's time for the good guy. And we've got an exercise good guy of the week, and we've been doing it a little bit differently. Is this only the second time?
I think this is a second, yeah.
Oh, okay, it's only the second time. But Jared put together a call-in number for you guys. It's 682-207-SOTG, or 7684. And here's the trick. You guys want me to tell you the trick? How to get yourself on air? Practice your question. Say it first before you actually dial the number. Say who you are, where you're at, and ask the question. Now, a question actually has a question mark at the end of it.
Yeah, I was going to say it's not a good guy statement. It's a good guy question.
It's, because here's the deal. When Jared is wading through them, and he's wading through a bunch, if it takes you 3 minutes to get to the question after your statement, the chances of you making the air are not high. Okay.
Here's what I'll tell you. I'll give you a little hint. I have a little timer. It's next to the little play button. It has the timer. If that timer is over 30 seconds, then you're put in the next queue. Like I look at all the ones that are 30 seconds and less first, and then because they're usually more concise, they're more well spoken.
That's right. We got to get to it. So this week, Jared's going to go ahead, and we've got our good guy of the week chosen. And Jared, tell our good guys what they need to do after they're all done running around the house screaming.
After you're all done running around the house screaming, and after you catch your breath, I need you to send an email to Alex, that's ALEX, at studentofthegun.com. You can CC me if you want. If not, that's cool too. Send her your name, your mailing address, your phone number, your shirt size, and type in your email address, please. And then you send that to her. She'll get it to XS, and they'll get you your good guy pack.
Well, there you go.
What was that over there with your big...
Oh, like I had an expression on my face.
Yeah.
I saw a picture that was posted of me, and I don't know how it got up there, but never mind.
I have pictures of you that you don't know about.
Okay, well, continue on, and
since
play our good guy question.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna play the theme. Since it's Monday, I want to pick you guys up a little bit because we're gonna get kind of depressed later on in the show with the topic that we have to talk about. But it's gonna be a great interview for you guys. So, with further ado, here we go.
Red roses too, I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Hey guys, Marty here from New York. Good guy of the week question. I live in an apartment and I dry fire a couple times a week. Surrounding me are cinder blocks and sheetrock. So what's the best place to point a gun, and any suggestions for dry fire exercise for us apartment dwellers? Thanks. Talk to you later. Bye.
All right. Well, that's it's pretty easy. Number one, exercises for dry fire. Well, number one is, you always want to point your gun in a direction that if it were to go bang, because guns want to go bang, they're designed to go bang, and that is their purpose. So that would capture the bullet, and cinder blocks are a good way to go. Sheetrock, if your sheetrock is backed up by cinder blocks, yes. If it's just interior walls, your handgun bullets are going to zip through interior walls like they're not even there. But as far as exercises, there's a really cool drill that you can do, especially if you're in an apartment or, any building. But it's called the wall drill. And this was taught to me, 12, 15, a long time ago. And it helps people with front sight focus. And as you know, if you're using standard handgun sights or, iron sights on a handgun, you need to focus on the front sight, not the rear sight, not the target, but the front sight to make your bullet.
Why is that?
Because your human eye can only focus on one plane.
But why not the rear sight? Why does it have to focus on the front sight? I don't understand.
Because the front sight's sitting right over the muzzle.
Oh,
that's how you index. Yeah, that's how you index the muzzle.
Sitting right over the muzzle or whatever. I don't know. Not even speaking of that. But I just wanted to thank Louis Armstrong for the nice pickup music before our good guy theme here.
Okay. Well, I'm sure he appreciates you thanking him. So anyway, the wall drill, this helps you focus on the front sight. And a lot of people have a hard time with that because they want to look at the target. They want to see the target. The target's out there. I'm interested in the target. And then they are looking so hard for the bullet holes in the target that they end up looking over or beyond their front sight. Well, what you do is you walk up to, with your cleared and checked firearm, you walk up to a wall, a blank wall, not a wall with a target on it, not a wall with anything else, just a blank beige or white wall. And you reach out so that the muzzle, you extend your arm so that the muzzle is about maybe a half an inch away from the wall. Focus on the front sight and smoothly and deliberately work your trigger press, and then reset and do again. And the reason for that is because the fact that you're so close to that wall and it's a big blank wall, the only thing out there for you to focus on, really, other than the rear sight, is the front sight. So it forces you to spend time focusing on the front sight. There's no other distraction out there. It's called the wall drill. It's super simple, and it's easy for you to accomplish. And I hope that that helps you out. And thank you for calling in and being our good guy of the week.
Yes, we appreciate the call-ins. It was funny because when last week I announced the problem and I announced the solution, and I think immediately after I announced the solution, we had a bunch of people call in, and I really appreciate that. So now we have less of a problem, but we still need the same solution. We need more of you to call in and leave some more questions. You can call in at 682-207-SOTG. And if you don't have the alphanumeric pad in front of you, the number is 682-207-7684.
Ta-da!
Remember, 30 seconds or less.
30 seconds or less.
Long ones are okay, as long as they're topical, but I pick 30 seconds or less.
Well, yeah.
Usually.
Well, the thing is, take a deep breath.
If you write it,
clear and concise, practice your question, and do it.
I say write it down, script it out, say it a couple times. You know, your cell phone, the phone that you're probably calling on has a stopwatch on it. So
it doesn't have to be like exactly 30. We'll let you go. But and think about it like this. Think everyone in America and also in places like Great Britain,
Australia,
is going to hear my voice. So I should sound good when I do it. Okay, let's move on to something that's probably going to set me off, but I'm going to do my ever-loving best to control myself. As you're listening to the sound of my voice, you may be aware of a story that came out last week. It was on buzzpo.com, and it's also been shared and forwarded many other places. And essentially, the title is Disabled Veteran Has Firearms Confiscated After Neighbor Makes False Allegations. It's from Glendale, Arizona, and the opening paragraph is, a disabled Navy veteran has just had all of his firearms confiscated due to false claims made by his next-door neighbor. Rick Bailey, 56, was honorably discharged from the Navy with a medical discharge in 1986. He's since then worked as an engineer, but he retired for medical reasons. Bailey was recently involved in a landscaping dispute with his neighbor, Dustin Moss. These verbal disagreements reportedly lasted for several months. On March 16th, Bailey called the police to report a strong smell of toxic chemicals coming from his neighbor's home. Then on the 17th, Moss, the neighbor, went to the courthouse and filed for a protective order against the disabled retired man who lives next to him. And he claimed that he had threatened to shoot him, that his neighbor had threatened to shoot him. Well, here's what happened. A judge, based only upon the claim of the neighbor dispute. We have a back-and-forth neighbor dispute. Neighbor calls the police on his neighbor, and then he says, but he said he was going to shoot me. So after the police interview this guy, do they collect enough evidence to file disorderly conduct charges, to file menacing charges, to file attempted assault charges? No, they don't. They don't gather enough evidence to file any kind of criminal charges against him. But that doesn't stop Judge Baxter from issuing a protective order. And so agents of the state show up and they seize all his guns. Now, ladies and gentlemen, rather than just talk about this, we actually we were able to make contact. Jared made contact with Mr. Bailey, and we've got him on the line right now, and he's going to tell us his story. Rick, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and give us kind of the rundown of what happened to you.
Okay. Well, it started last year. I was getting harassed by our new neighbor. He's only lived here about a year and a half. He owns a lawn and turf service, and he was keeping large trucks, like dump trucks, 2 of them, and flatbed and pickup trucks. And he's got an area beside his house that he can lock them up in. And he constantly had them full of dead grass, so it smelled like, extreme horse manure smell right into our yard, because he parked them right beside our wall. So my wife and I started taking pictures and everything and gathering a little evidence, and we filed a complaint with the city. And he was cited on November 27th. He's not supposed to have any work vehicles parked in his area, no trailers, no nursery, no business equipment, plain and simple. We've had our words over the years. I believed the guy that he was, trying to find a place to put them. And I finally just got fed up with it. It was like a year of smelling dead grass every night, every weekend. Anyhow, after that, he just continued it on the weekends. Like I said, we had our words. No threats involved either way, just words. And everything had been okay since beginning of January. Hadn't even talked to the guy. He had been quiet and everything. Then March 16th, I smelled toxic chemicals in my backyard, coming from a couple barrels that he had in his landscaping truck. And so I called the police, Glendale Police, to see if they could do anything about it. And if not, no big deal. So the sergeant came out and interviewed my neighbor first, at which time the sergeant came over and talked to me. And at that time, I was told that my neighbor told him that I threatened to shoot him twice. Which never happened. I'm 56 years old. I've been trained with guns since I was 10. I'm a licensed concealed carry member. And it's just ridiculous because the last thing I would ever do is threaten somebody for this particular reason, getting my guns taken away. And, plus I'm not physically able to do it. I haven't been able to shoot in 2 years because of body shakes. And can't even lift like 5 pounds off the ground with each hand because of problems.
So his retaliation against you calling the police was to accuse you of. So have you been charged with menacing or threatened with threatening an assault or anything like that? Are there criminal charges pending against you?
No, none at all. None at all. This was outright news to me. Never even heard it. It shocked me. And then the following day, this man went down, filed a order of harassment and restraining order, and I guess he had one of the officers had explained that one of the reasons he had seen us go shooting last summer with a bunch of my guns. My family was in for family reunion. A couple of brother-in-laws, niece, nephew, my daughter, her husband, who's in the Army. And, I have a brother-in-law that's, both my brother-in-laws work for the government. I don't know if they would feel comfortable in me saying where, but...
That's okay. So,
we're all gun trained, one's a retired Army officer, that kind of stuff, you know. And we're the ones that went shooting. Took a bunch of my guns out last summer, went shooting. I couldn't, but they did. And
so what happened?
So he had mentioned to the judge that he knew I had a bunch of guns, and he felt his life was threatened. So she ordered all my guns taken away. I didn't have any idea any of this was happening until March 17th at 3:12. The police came to my door and served the thing, and immediately started words escaping right now. Started inventorying my guns and taking them right then. Took like 3.5 hours.
So you said this Judge Baxter is a she?
Yes.
Okay. Well, there's part of the problem right there.
I think it's Jean Baxter, actually.
And so, based on nothing other than an accusation by an irate neighbor, this judge issues a court order to seize your lawfully owned property. And
correct.
So, members of the state show up at your house with a piece of paper
and guns. I assume they had guns on them.
Oh, armed members of the state. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, where does it stand right now? Where does this situate? The original report was put up on March 24th. That was the original story that we got. So tell the audience, where are you at right now?
Right now, I have already made an appointment with an attorney. That got delayed. I have an appointment with an NRA attorney. And another one that was suggested to me by Beth Boca.
Okay.
And I've got phone calls to him, but no return calls yet. So I have an appointment. I'm trying to make appointments. I've been told that I have more backing than I realized, but and it should be taken care of next week.
So, is there this a blanket order that just exists until the court decides to remove it? Is there a time frame on this? Do you have a court date?
Yes, I have 30 days to file. Otherwise, they keep my guns for a year.
So basically, they said
30 days to appeal.
Wow.
Now, do you have a date where you've been ordered to appear to answer to any charges?
No.
So
the officers that confiscated my guns Both said that this was wrong. They couldn't believe it ever happened.
But they took him anyway.
And they couldn't believe even my neighbor. They both suggested that I go down to court and appeal it as soon as possible because it was wrong and I should get my guns back ASAP. But, I was had a major anxiety attack and panic attack, and the officers almost called the ambulance for me, but I told them no, and so did my wife later. Yeah. Like I said, I shake a lot, and it's hard to walk sometimes.
Well, Mr.
I haven't been able to physically go down there last week.
Yeah.
And I'm just so amazed by some of the help that I'm getting right now. I'm trying to make, it's unbelievable to me. I'm just overwhelmed.
And if you can hear my voice right now as a listener, show your support for Mr. Bailey, because this is one of those times where all of us need to come together.
This could be you.
Yeah.
Oh, there is right now. There's been established and this is tagged in the BuzzPo story, a GoFundMe account, a legal defense fund for Mr. Bailey. And if you guys can go to the Student of the Gun Radio show notes, and we'll have a link to it right there, and obviously a link to the story itself. Even
$10, give $10. It'll help him.
Mr. Bailey, I know this is a very difficult time for you. I understand that as somebody, and that's the sad thing, is the vast majority of the citizens of the United States spend their entire lives living within the law, taking care of business, paying their taxes, being a good citizen, and then to have this thrust upon you out of the blue just because of a crank neighbor or
and Mr. Bailey, he gave his. I'm assuming that you gave part of your life and your body health to this nation, to this country.
You were
yes, I did.
You were in the United States
Navy. I joined the Navy and I was released on a medical discharge for severe back injury in 1986.
So he gave his health to this nation, and now look.
That's how he's being repaid. Well, Mr. Bailey, we're going to follow up on your story. We're going to make sure that our audience knows what's going on. We're not going to let it go. And we hope that everybody in Glendale that is a good citizen stands up to this tyranny, to this Judge Baxter, who apparently has some type of a problem with gun owners. But we appreciate you taking the time to be with us today, for letting us know, and we're going to follow up with you as time progresses.
Well, thank you very much. I greatly appreciate it. Everything.
Folks, if that story doesn't concern you, if you're thinking, well, yeah, but that would never happen to me. Why? Why exactly would that never happen to you? Are you a gun owner? Do your neighbors or your relatives know that you have guns? Are you willing to bet that your local magistrate doesn't have kind of an anti-gun bias? Or maybe the current one doesn't and the next one will. And that all your neighbor has to say is, my neighbor has guns and he scares me. Oh, well, let's send agents of the state over there to take those guns. And folks, let me tell you what, men in blue and brown and gray, it's gut check time. It is gut check time. If it's wrong and you know it's wrong, are you still going to do it? Because I can't mess up my pension. I can't. So if the sheriff says, go confiscate this person's property, and you're like, okay, roger that, I'm going to go take that person's property. Well, and then while you're doing it, you realize that what you're doing is wrong.
Then stop doing it.
Are you educated? Are you a member of? Are you there to serve and protect? Are you a public servant? Or are you part of the Gestapo arm of the anti-gun movement? Oh, don't you come to me. I am going to come to you, because every man and woman in the United States of America is responsible for their actions. They're responsible for their decisions. They're responsible for their actions. You cannot go in front of the great trial, the great court, and say, I'm not responsible. I was just following orders. I knew it was wrong, but I was told to do it. Oh, well, case dismissed. You knew it was wrong. You knew you were violating the law. You knew you were violating the Constitution. You knew that you were violating your own moral code if you had one. But you just did it anyway because I don't want to rock the boat. I'm not going to be that guy. I have to. You don't understand, Paul. You don't understand what it's like. You don't have mouths to feed. Yeah, I have mouths to feed. I've had mouths to feed for 25 years. And I've had different jobs.
I'm going to tell you a little secret that Dad won't tell you because he's a little humble. When he's been put in positions before where he had to make choices, where he had to either do something that he didn't want to do at the job that he didn't feel was right, or to leave the job. And he chose to leave the job and find something else. That's what he did. And he preaches to do that because he has done that. It's hard, and he knows it's hard, but it's possible, and you can do it.
This whole situation is really Martin Niemöller, and if you don't know who Martin Niemöller is, you should. But you know this quote. You should know this quote. And it says, first they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak out for me. Folks, that is 100% the situation that we're in the United States of America today. Are you going to speak out, or are you going to look at the ground and say, well, it didn't happen to me, or probably won't happen to me, or, okay, so that's how we're going to live now.
And who would have thought that the first people they came for were the disabled veterans? Mm-hmm. It's ridiculous.
And I told you guys this years ago that this whole, we need to make sure that our veterans have better health care, health screenings and so forth. And when they started talking about mental health, I said, it was 3-4 years ago. And they said, no, that means we're going to use any excuse we can to disarm men. So, folks, I tell you what, I don't even know what to say. Well, we got another story, and we're going to talk about it. So you guys go to studentofthegunradio.com. The show links are there. The GoFundMe links are there. We made a donation anonymously on behalf of Student of the Gun. But I want you guys to. This guy needs your help. This guy. I mean, think about it. Would you help him? Would you want someone to help you, or would you feel alone? Would you feel like no one cares, and they're just happy that it wasn't them? We got a story that comes to us. Apparently, Nanny Bloomberg and Gates and all the other elitist billionaires have decided that we're part of the ruling class, and you peasants don't need to have guns. And what have we been telling you? Dude, I'm so sick of speaking the truth and people not hearing. But universal gun control, universal background checks is nothing but soft pill gun control. It's another way to tell you that the ownership of guns is a privilege, not a right. Okay? And this comes to us from theexaminer.com. The story was datelined March 26, 2015. Private firearms transfer gun owners transfer gun owner registration bill fast-tracked in Oregon. And you're like, yeah, this is like the Washington thing. This is from David Kodria, gun rights from Examiner. Telling supporters we are in a race and asking them to please act now, Oregon Firearms Federation warned Thursday that a bill requiring police background checks on all private firearms transfers is going to be fast-tracked through the Senate. That means we want to get this done before people see what we're doing, because it's so important for the children, for safety. In response to that information, the grassroots group is imploring Beaver State gun owners to contact the representatives and urge them to oppose the bill. But what do we know about elected representatives in the United States of America today? they can be easily bought, just as they were bought and purchased in Washington state. The bill in question is Senate Bill 941. It's being represented by proponents as merely a background check measure. That OFF responds, Oregon Firearms Federation, responds by calling a registration bill as hardly hyperbole, no less authority than the U.S. Department of Justice, yada, 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 universal background checks. Dude, it's long story short. Here's the deal. Is it your property or is it not? Is it your lawfully owned property? Is that object lawfully owned property? Yes or no? Well, what do you mean, Paul? Of course it's my lawfully. I bought it. It's mine. I can do with it as I will. No, you can't. If you have to get a background check, if you have to go before the state and say, great and mighty Oz, will you give me permission to sell or transfer my property to another person? If you have to request permission from the state to transfer your property, then let me clue you in, folks. It's not your property. It is a privilege that you have been offered or granted by the state. And remember this, privileges can be rescinded at any point in time. Privileges are not rights. Well, no, I have a right to own a gun. I have a right to keep and bear arms because I can read the English language. Okay, rights cannot be rescinded. Do you know anything about rights? About God-given natural rights? They're not granted by the state. Now, the state wants you to believe that all of your rights come from them, but they do not. They do not. Folks, I don't know what to tell you. We warned you about the Washington thing, and it happened anyway. And we're telling you that the same scumbags are in the background with their dirty money pushing this in Oregon.
Apparently.
But it's for the children.
Apparently not enough people in Washington stood up. There were thousands of people, at least 1,000 people that went and said, F you, AAF you.
Yeah.
And apparently that wasn't enough, so we need more.
Yep, they're like, well, we don't care. You peasants need to just look at the ground and get back out in the field. You need to shut your mouths, get back out in the field, peasants. Now, Jared, before we get too far in, we acknowledged excess sites because we had the good guy of the day. We haven't acknowledged our friends at SWAT Fuel yet, and we need to do that. So we're going to acknowledge SWAT Fuel at SWATfuel.com. It is special weapons and tactics for the body. And every Wednesday we do the SWAT Fuel Fitness Talk, and we've been doing that for a while now. And don't forget about we good news, positive news. We've got the NRA annual meeting coming up, and we're really looking forward to that. We talked to some of my friends this morning about meeting them at the NRA annual meeting. And if you go to the Velocity Triggers booth there at the NRA annual meeting, you tell them that you are a student of the gun. You say, hey, I'm a student of the gun. Our good friend Tom is going to give you a special discount on top of what he's already doing. So you want to do that for sure. Velocity Triggers at velocitytriggers.com. If you can't make it to the NRA, that's cool. Check their website out anyway. Designed for precision.
Do you remember what booth number?
No, I don't remember from last week.
Something.
And Brownells actually if you haven't signed up for the Brownells digital newsletter, their emails, you really should, because I just got one in my inbox about their ammunition sale. They have an ammo sale going on at Brownells, and as of yesterday morning, they had 22 ammo on sale. They had 22 ammo in stock and on sale. So pretty good deal there. And they have ammunition for rifles and pistols and what have you. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you guys about ammo. I'm not telling you to buy a pallet. I'm not telling you to even buy 1,000 rounds. But I am telling you that every payday you should pick up a couple of boxes and set them aside. If you're not doing that, when the next great ammo crisis rolls around, I don't want to hear from you.
I said Dad's been talking about that for a while now.
Like 5 years or so. But anyway, and you can look at our everything they've got is available on Brownells.com. So check those guys out at Brownells.com. Now, Jared, I've got a show note right here about about doing something positive.
Mm-hmm.
And people are like, well, Paul, you're always, you're like, oh, you complain, you get angry. Yeah, I do. And I also point out solutions. Jared said that last week. He said, I'm not going to come to you with a problem without giving you a solution. And What we do here at Student of the Gun is we offer solutions. We offer positive solutions. And that is exactly, I can't believe that there are people out there listening that don't know about the Faith and not the Faith and Patriot, but the Patriot Fire Team book or the Patriot Fire Team concept. I can't believe that there are. But I just talked to someone this morning who's a friend of mine, and he's like, "Oh, what are you up to?" and blah, blah, blah. And he said, "Dude," and I said something about doing the book, and he's like, "Oh, I wasn't aware of that." I'm like, "Dude, I'm going to come to where you are and kick you in your scrotum.
I'm going to fly to where you are, get on a ladder, slap you in the face, and then leave."
That's right. No, but seriously, if we believe that all this nonsense going on in the United States of America, if you think that we can vote ourselves out of this problem, it's the definition of insanity. You know, the clinical definition of insanity is to keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over and expect a different result. And what we've been doing for, the last 10, 15, 20 years, we do the same thing, and then we're amazed that we don't get different results. Your liberty is not going to be returned to you from the top. Don't expect R's or D's in Washington, D.C. to ever get together one day and say, "You know what? We've taken enough liberty from the people. We just need to go ahead and give them some more back." It's not going to happen. What I want you to do is I want you to look around your neighborhood. I want you to look around your community. And I want you to think, what can I do? What positive difference can I affect in my family, in my community, in my neighborhood? How can I be a positive influence? How can I be a blessing, not a burden? Because if you're, and you know these people, you know the people that look to the mountain, they look to the government to solve all of the problems and all of the ills of the world. If we only had more, if only the government would do something. And you and I know that's not the case. You and I know that no good can ever come from that. And you're like, all right, Paul, so that's the problem. I know that. So what are we going to do? Well, first of all, I would like you, if you have the time, and you're listening to me right now, right? You're pretending that you're working. Okay, maybe you're in the car. Maybe you're on the treadmill, whatever you happen to be doing. Maybe you're standing in the bread line. No, we don't have that yet. The bread line actually comes to you. I was listening to the radio the other day, and someone said, in the 1930s during the Great Depression, they took pictures of people standing in soup lines, and they posted them in newspapers, and people were depressed and they're upset by it. And they said that today we still have soup lines, but you don't stand in the soup line. The soup line comes to you. It comes to your mailbox. We load the soup line up onto a plastic card for you to take to Walmart. So you don't see those lines of people, waiting for the bowl of soup. But here's what I'm going to tell you. Take the time, go to patriotfireteam.com. There's a bunch of articles up there that you can read for free. We have regular newsletters that we send out and updates and so forth. And if you're curious, if you're looking for a manual to tell you what you can do, what can I do that is positive? What can I do that makes a difference, that will make a difference in the life of my family and my neighborhood, my community? What do you have the power over? Because let's face it, you don't have the power right now where you're standing to change Washington, D.C. What do you mean, Paul? I'm a voter. Yeah, I understand that. And we vote every 2 years or 4 years or whatever, and we look and we wait for the change to happen, and it doesn't because we're clinically insane. So what I want you to do is to take an opportunity. If you pick up, Jared made the book available via direct download ebook version. You can get it immediately, bam, delivered right to you. If you're not all about that, if you're about the paper Dead Tree versions, rock on. We've got that available to you too.
And honestly, the Patriot Fire Team book is one that I would recommend to get an actual Dead Tree version, because you can mark, or if you want to get the ebook and print it out, but you'll spend just as much money on printer paper as you would.
Yeah, you'll go through an entire thing, a cartridge of ink.
Yeah, but you want to take notes on this, and you want to be able to pass it along to other people.
Tell them to buy their own book.
Well, I mean, actually, you know what? I think, are we going to do the fire team package?
It's up to you, dude. I threw the idea out there.
So Dad
idea
threw an idea out, and I want to hear from you guys that are Patriot Fire Team members or Patriot Fire Team followers. He's going to put a package of. We're going to put 4 books in a package, and what else would be in? What else? You guys want 4 books and 4
vinyl.
shirts?
No, the
4 books and a vinyl.
The vinyl with. If you guys are familiar, you're hip with the Patriot Fire Team with the symbology.
Yeah.
The symbolism.
You're looking for symbolism.
I think the word you're looking for is symbolism. But the each member of a fire team has their own individual symbol, and we actually have vinyls made up that have all 4 of those on one vinyl, and you can actually take a pair of scissors and cut them into 4, and then you have 4 individual ones.
One for each person.
One for each person. I know, how crazy is that?
Yeah.
It's like it's mind-boggling.
So what I want to know is, obviously, a package deal will be cheaper than buying everything individually. What do you guys want in a package? Do you want the books and the vinyl, the books, the shirts and a vinyl? What do you guys want? So let us know. Go to Facebook or email us or whatever. If you go to patriotfireteam.com, there's a little contact us tab where you can write an email and let us know.
Something else that and this is totally off the beaten path, but the follow-up book, Faith in the Patriot, is coming up very soon. Mm-hmm. And it's Jared, can you make the Armed on the Water segment, can you put it on Facebook so they can just view it directly from there?
Yeah.
I think we should do that. Somebody actually wanted to know about being armed on the water. What do we do in the summertime? How do I go out on my canoe or my boat or my fishing vessel or whatever?
We've already talked about how we carry in summertime when we're walking around.
Yeah.
But this dude wanted to know about that and specifically boating and stuff like that.
Yeah, and we did a segment called Armed on the Water. We did it on Student of the Gun TV, 2 years ago?
Is that when we did the vacation thing?
No.
When we were in Destin?
No, it was when we did where I was standing on the dock.
Oh.
With the water in the background. Remember that?
Okay.
So if you're not following the Facebook, you really should, because Jared takes a lot of the video segments and he puts them up so you can view them immediately right there. Oh, if you're not following us on your mobile app, well, if you don't have the mobile app, I don't know what to tell you. Oh, I talked to somebody yesterday. I had talked to Tequila, and I asked her, I said, you got the mobile app? And she said, no, it won't work on my phone. I said, what, do you have a flip phone? She goes, no, I got one of those ones that you slide it and the keyboard comes out.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to 20, or that one was what?
I don't know.
That was probably like a 2010 phone or something.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
2008.
Well, I guess you're forgiven. Your sister had one of those.
Yeah, no, they like it. I don't know.
Yeah, the little...
I used to have one, and then I got my touchscreen phone, and I like it a lot more.
It's like, yeah, I'm all done with that.
I don't have to push the buttons anymore. It's like you tap the screen, and it just senses your finger.
It senses it. Well, ladies, and what would we do in the world without touchscreens? I don't know what we would do without touchscreens. We would be lost.
So somebody told me the other day, he's like, I'm kind of embarrassed to say this, but technology has me so spoiled. I picked up the DVD case when he was at the store the other day, and he's looking at it, and I think it was something with like a Spartan on it, and the dude had armor, and he said, I picked it up, and I wanted to look closer at the armor, so I put both my fingers on the case and spread them. And I was expecting it to zoom in. And after he did that, he's like, I looked around to make sure nobody else saw me, and I put the case back.
It's like reaching out on your laptop monitor and touching it with your finger, like, hey,
that doesn't work.
The cursor's not moving. I don't know what to do. All right, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, thank you for joining us. Thank you for getting with us for another week of Student of the Gun Radio. We truly appreciate it. Tomorrow we're going to talk about public schools and haircuts. What? Yep. Yes, we are. Until then, remember, you are a student for life.